listening to Power Producers Shop Talk, where we are refining and redefining the sales game by equipping you with the tools you need to differentiate yourself in the marketplace.
Well, it's like when we audit the mod with Logic and give them the action items that they're going to use to lower their total cost of risk.
Tactical skills that will help you provide deliverable value to your clients and prospects.
Technology is not an expense, it's an investment. Look at what ThinkHR has done for our clients and even our team. It's an amazing product, and I'm so thankful we have that.
And action items that you can provide to take your prospects and clients to the next level.
Things are changing for us in 2021. Not all big business anymore. Now that we have CoverWallet on our team, it's amazing that we're going to be able to write small business profitably.
This is Power Producer Shop Talk. Production redefined. Are you ready to feel the power?
Hey everybody, welcome to Power Producers Shop Talk, where we are going to tell you today, quit being an expense line. Don't even try it. It doesn't work. Nobody wants to pay you.
Yeah, I don't.
No, I mean, I think, again, here we go. We're going to go in, we're going to talk about all the value-added services that we provide and all of this stuff, and then we go ask for more money. Nobody has more money. They want to pay less, right? So I think part of what producers need to look at is they need to figure out how to bundle their value proposition in such a way that they can provide all of that stuff without charging more to their client.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons why I like fee-based deals.
Right.
Right? I can go in, we're going to do all this, and I'm not even going to charge you any more money. In fact, I'm going to charge you less because the property rates are going up, and it doesn't make any sense for me to make more money just due to market conditions. I'm not doing any more work on your property schedule, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give you ThinkHR. We're going to use Logic to audit your mod and do all of the things that we normally do, and as a result, we're going to just charge you a service fee and net the commissions out of the deal. And here's the amount that we're going to charge you. They like that.
Absolutely.
But I think, if you look at it that way, if you go in and you set the value proposition up the right way, if you go in and you're talking to somebody about all of the different support that we can give them, whether it be, handbook and job description creation, or having a hotline people can call, or, and I mean, I could go for days on.
Well, yeah, think about all that stuff. I mean, all of those things are expensive tools. Like if you were to go out and purchase them on your own to go, have a learning management system. I mean, those are expensive as hell.
$8,000 to $10,000 probably.
Yeah, for
all practical purposes, and that's only if you get, the good version. You could get something crappy maybe for $5,000, but I think that there's a lot more powerful. And I mean, again, this goes back to a producer setting themselves up to solve a problem as opposed to selling a product, right? And we just talked on the last episode of Shop Talk about asking open-ended questions and then listening to what people have to say and their pain points and all of that. I honestly can't think, and maybe you can. I'll put us to the test on.
Don't make me think, dude.
I'll put us to the test in real time, but I honestly can't think of a problem that has ever been presented at the point of sale that we didn't already have the answer to.
Yeah, no, or that we haven't already come up with, before even meeting with them.
Yeah, the only thing that I can tell you that we ever run into that's a problem that we can't address is most of the time the insurance, right? If we have a problem, it's insurance related. It's a class of business that we literally can't find a carrier to write. You're dealing with it right now on that one comp deal. We could give them everything they need to run that business safely, to keep their employees safe, to teach them proper technique and all of this other stuff.
True.
We can't get a carrier to bite on it, and that's a problem, right? But that's an outlier. I mean, it's very rare. It's not honestly. Here we go again. It's always a referral. It's never It's never the business we're targeting.
Totally. And it was it's a referral from a current client. It's their spouse's company. So it's not. Yeah. So yeah, it is an interesting situation, but you're right. It's not something that we would ever go after, and that's why we don't run into that issue very often.
Yeah, but I think that, a lot of people go in and it's insurance. Let's talk about coverage. Let's review your policies. Let's make sure the endorsements are there. Let's make sure the credits are there. You know what? That's fine. That's all stuff you should be doing, but that's what
that can only go so far, right? I mean,
that's what everybody else that's an insurance salesperson is doing.
Right.
They're looking at the insurance. Don't do that.
Because it's like, okay, cool. Everything looks good here. Now what?
Yeah, or you're going in and you're absolutely shredding insurance policies, and then come to find out that thing's with that excess and surplus lines market that has coverage that looks like Swiss cheese, because that's literally the only place that would give them anything.
Yeah.
Don't hang your hat on that. You can't control that. You can control what your agency does and what your value proposition does, and that's what you should be hanging your hat on. And you should be looking at questions surrounding the training. If I go in and I see a company who has accident issues, I'm going to look at what those are. Are there any trends? Are there any commonalities between them? I'm going to do a tour of their facility and look for the things that I've mentioned on the podcast before that are low-hanging fruit that I'm intelligent enough to see.
Freaking cords, man.
The cords and the hoses on the floor every time, and shut that circuit breaker box, will you? God. That thing is open every time that I come in.
Flapping around in the wind.
God. Yeah. I mean, what are you doing, guys? Using it as a dartboard or what? I mean, anyhow, but I go in and I look for those things, and then we sort of talk about, hey, talk to me a little bit about your training program. What does that look like right now?
But most people don't have a formalized training program where it's, they may run a training once a quarter or something like that, and talking about different safety things, but it's nothing specific. It's not structured, and a lot of times it's not something that the employees can sign off on and they can have in their file. Like, we can provide that, again, as you said, at no extra cost. So
yeah, but when I hear about training programs after an accident or at renewal, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, they get a renewal, the numbers are a little higher. Hey, we need to put a training program in. Yeah, I told you that last year. But I mean,
dude, there was this episode of King of Queens I saw the other day that was obviously everybody knows he's a truck driver for the Postal Service, and they had to come in and do he had to take a driver safety exam because the insurance company was trying to come in and give them a discount. and he's like, oh, I don't need to study for this. I've been driving for 11 years. And he fails the exam.
Just blew it completely.
Yeah, it was awesome. Anyhow.
Yeah, I think we should have Kevin James on the podcast sometime.
Dude, I love Kevin James.
I do too.
He's hilarious.
I think my all-time favorite Kevin James role was definitely Hitch, beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Oh,
I could watch Hitch 100 times.
Oh man,
in a row.
When he starts dancing, I lose it every time.
Big Eva Mendes fan as well, by the way.
Very strong to quite strong.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyhow, I mean, so you get into these things. Tell me about your training program. Let's talk about equipment guarding. This came up.
Oh, dude, nobody has the guards ever.
The guards, lockout, tagout, another one.
Yeah.
People working on equipment that they haven't even locked out correctly and shut down so that they should be working on it. Mm-hmm. I had a call with a guy that's in Killing Commercial up in Jersey that was working for working with a manufacturing company. Dude lost 2 fingers. I'm like, how? Oof. How did he lose 2 fingers? By the way, and we start digging into the loss run, several other people had not lost digits, but had been cut. And I'm thinking, there's no way that this process functions this way as it was supposed to be set up, right? So, you just start asking those questions. But I mean, then we start talking about things like, again, I've got a big company that I represent right now that's had some driving issues. I think probably for me, the most frustrating thing to deal with is fleet safety for me.
Like, in what regard?
Purple
like,
in the
the fact that they won't,
and they won't listen. These guys don't listen. This exact company, I literally, they've got enough trucks that it's a guaranteed fact that every time I'm on the road, regardless of where I'm going to pass one of their trucks. See at least one, yeah, every time. Mm-hmm. And I catch these guys, looking at their texts while they're driving, looking down to dial their phone. And I immediately call the office and tell them, like, hey, truck number such and such is next to me on Bloomingdale Avenue or whatever, and this dude just about sideswiped me because he's worried about his text messages.
Right.
We just ran everybody through distracted driving. I mean, so to me, I don't know how you make it stick. We've tried offering bonuses. All of this stuff. But the only thing I can assume is it's got to be repetition, and eventually at some point it sticks. So when you go in and you find those issues and you can have a solution where you can say, oh, well, we just need to add lockout tagout to your learning management system, or we need to add ladder safety to your learning management system or whatever, that's a breeze. And now all of a sudden you have the answer on the fly. So I like to go in and ask those questions to uncover where the pain is. Then when we're talking about what our solutions are, we talk about everything that I noticed. So again, I think people get under the impression that when you're going out to a middle market account to have a new business meeting, that those questions need to be revolving around that insurance renewal or those insurance policies, and they don't. How do you effectively represent somebody's business when you don't really understand their business first?
Right.
You're starting at the end. With to me, the insurance is the end. Work your way backwards from that. Too many times people try and lead with the insurance and then they learn about the business problems. Well, chances are you just jacked up the whole insurance piece because you didn't understand the business first.
Yeah.
Understand the business. In again, I'm not advocating that everybody needs to go out and do this, but there's been times on accounts where I'll go work. I'll go work on the production floor. I want to understand the process. When I first got my license, I wrote a really big a company that did pool decks.
Yeah.
Okay. They went out and they poured the cool decking and the texturing, put in deco drain, all of that stuff. I knew how to do that. And so I wanted to learn about their processes and I wanted to watch their people work. So I put on jeans and work boots and I went out and I poured pool decks for 2 days and understood what their process was, kind of what their exposures were. And I'm not saying everybody needs to do this, but they were shorthanded. I knew them because I had been working on new construction sites while I was getting my license. And so they were shorthanded. They needed help getting the job done. I'm like, you know what? This will kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I'll come help you guys for a day or 2. And we'll get you caught back up on your projects. It'll help me understand what's going on from the insurance, which, by the way, I found out that this company had a fleet of 20 vehicles and they had 10-20-10 on a commercial auto policy.
That's so gross.
It's insane. So anyhow, but you go in and then you lay out what you found. Talk to them. Show them that you understand their business at a deep level. Like, I get the fact that you guys are producing X number of units per hour. I'm interested, like, where did that start to get to where it is today? What things have you done to fine-tune that process? And you're listening the whole time that's going on, and then you ask them the questions like, what keeps you up at night? How can I, those kinds of things. And then you begin to offer your solutions. And to me, I get to the insurance piece at the end. I'm never talking about insurance during the first part of that conversation, ever.
Yeah.
First 30, 45 minutes. It's operations, it's financials. If I talk to them about anything other than ops, it's typically marketing. Because I can hold my weight in marketing. I will talk to them about that. I'll give them ideas, and that catches people off guard. Like, my agent never comes in and talks to me about how I can grow my business. Well, that's because your agent might not be as much into marketing as what I am, but it's something that I like to do as much as a hobby as anything else. And so, you can have a business conversation that way, and you put people at ease. They start talking more about sales and profitability and everything else, because I think everybody's been into those meetings before where you ask for numbers and they're like, we're not comfortable sharing that information. Well, what do you expect me to do, dude?
How am I supposed to help you if you're not going to share that information with me? I mean, that's
right.
What all of this is based on.
So you got to learn the business and spend time talking to them about that stuff just to build the rapport. But for me, the insurance piece is simple, and it's why I wanted to talk about don't make yourself an expense line, because it is about how much value can you deliver to a client who is not getting that value right now, but be able to do that within the confines of the revenue generated from the insurance placement. Meaning, how much crap can you give somebody for the commissions that you make off of their product that you sell them? Okay, that's it. The way that I frame that is I view insurance to be the commoditized shuffling of paperwork. It's literally just paper. It's never any good to you until you have a claim or you need a certificate to get onto a job site. So I don't focus on that. I focus on all of this other stuff. And if we do everything else the way we should, then the insurance premium should come back the best that they could possibly come back. Mm-hmm. And I know you're wondering. You've heard me talk about all of the things that we can do for you from a HR support and a training and a development standpoint, putting policies and procedures in place and job descriptions and, giving you the Think HR hotline that you can call and talk to a qualified professional that can give you answers for sticky HR situations. You're probably wondering how much more I'm going to charge you, and I'm going to tell you that I view insurance as the funding mechanism for our value proposition. We can give you everything that we talked about today and use money that you're already spending.
Right.
I'm not asking you to write me a check for extra money. Yeah. I'm asking you to allow me the privilege of placing your insurance program, and I will use the revenue derived from the placement of the insurance program to fund all of the other things that we've talked about today.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I can't come in here and ask you to find money to pay me.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. You're dealing with somebody who is meeting with you because they already want to save money on their insurance. That's the number one thing. Nobody ever calls me and says, hey, I'd really like for you to come in and sell me awesome coverage. Nobody does that.
Yeah. I'd like to increase my insurance costs, please.
I never talk about price. I always say cost. I think cost is a softer term, and it can apply to more than just premium because there are costs associated with your risk management. Premium is a price, right? Now, premium is a cost associated with risk management, but so is indirect costs of claims. So is hiring outside counsel training to come in and all of these other things. So that's why I always say, look, I understand you're telling me you want a cheaper price. What you really need to be doing is you need to be talking about reducing your cost. And today, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out exactly what that cost is, because I have a feeling you're equating it to your premium and you're really not getting the full picture. Once you see everything, you're going to understand where I'm coming from. And then you just lay it out. You put all those things in and you ask those questions. Have you had any third parties come in and do any kind of training? Have you spent any money on requiring, on improving your facilities? And you can just, have you had any maintenance done to any portion of your property as a result of a hazard? You can get into all of these things and you start adding it up, and that's where you get them at that point. And,
right. I wanted to go back to something you said, and maybe we can even do a whole nother episode on this, but I thought it was interesting in the adoption, from the employees' perspective on fleet management or fleet safety or whatever, and getting them to retain the information. And you mentioned bonuses. I'm trying to think of other ways that would entice them to pay more attention or to not be doing the things that the training says not to do. Obviously a bonus structure is good.
I've got clients who make their employees responsible for the deductible. Contractually, their employees are responsible for the deductible if they get into an accident.
Interesting.
And they do it through payroll deduction. That still hasn't stopped them.
Yeah.
I mean, part of it is just the environment down here, period. I mean, you've got a lot of people that have no business driving that are driving. The wintertime is bad because we have snowbirds down here. It's just, it's one thing after the other. And, you start going east towards Orlando. Now you have all the tourists. They're driving rental vehicles. They're not comfortable driving or have never driven a vehicle like that before. They're looking around. Oh, kids, look, Mickey Mouse is part of a power pole. Next thing you know, they're, 3 feet deep into the back seat of a guy, that's with his family getting ready to turn into Disney. And now you have a whole pile up on I-4. I mean, it is. Right. It's really that crazy. There's so many things that are unique to Florida. And we're not even talking about the frickin' rain that comes down the size of softballs.
The summertime afternoon rain is pretty crazy. I mean, you can't see for 10 feet in front of you.
Yeah, and I mean, all of that comes into play. How do you drive in inclement weather? How do you drive at night?
Right.
What are warning signs?
I guess I just figure if I'm an employee and I'm going to get a bonus for safe driving, why would I want to not drive safely to begin with? But if I'm also going to get a bonus,
let's throw it out there. I'll tell you exactly why. Half the time, it's the stupid company texting them, telling them something for the job they're on their way to, or they're calling them, or they're communicating with them. It's like, what the heck are you having your dispatchers doing, bothering these people when you know they're on the road? This one company has like the whole GPS system, so they know these people are on the road. We have a full program in place where we're pulling these people in. If they get hit for speeding, hard cornering, hard braking, any of that stuff, we're pulling them in. We're counseling them. They're getting written up. They're having to go back through training on driving again. Still.
Yeah.
It starts with the top and works its way down. I mean, I'm honestly of the impression that until the ownership of these companies takes it seriously and understands, and I mean, when you get to the point you're spending $7,000 a unit on a vehicle, that should be like $2,500, maybe you're going to get it at that point,
True. Yeah, it's getting crazy, man. I mean, I remember a few years ago first putting together auto policies, and you're in that range, the $2,500, and
we had some that were below. Check this out. When I was in St. Louis, I looked at a policy for a company that was $500.
Like $900. Yeah, right.
No, there were a bunch of them that were $9, but there were actually a couple of them that were $500 and less. I'm like, how?
That's crazy.
Like, you have 30 vehicles and your premium is $50,000. Down here,
that's nuts,
that would be triple that.
A couple $100,000.
It's crazy. All right, I think we beat this horse to death. People, sell value, not expenses, okay? Use the money that they're giving you in commissions and apply it to that account. You'll thank me for that later. Have a great weekend. See ya.
See ya.
You've been listening to Power Producers Shop Talk. You can follow us at the Power Producers Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to take your game to the next level, check out our commercial insurance training course at killingcommercial.com or visit Amazon to pick up a copy of our international best-selling book, The Extra 2 Minutes.